Hey guys, how you doing today? Right up until I stopped it there, I was playing out of one basic scale, which is A minor blues pentatonic, or just A minor pentatonic. Same as C major pentatonic. Remember I was talking the other day about relative major and relative minor, and how those chords go together, and also the attendant scales that go with those chords go together. So we're going to call it A minor today, though, and so what I was doing there was just jamming along with a quick and dirty backing track I put down in Logic today, and basically just to kind of try to make the impression on you that if you're really trying to improve your guitar playing and just become more and more comfortable with it and be able to do more and more things with it and integrate all the different things you're learning, man, you just got to play. You know, if you got buddies, I remember when I was a kid, I had a good buddy who, he had a Fender Music Man guitar, and it was a really cool little guitar. We thought it was at the time anyway. And I had some knockoff at the time, I think, but we would literally spend hours sitting in my or his bedroom, and he'd be playing 12-bar blues, and one of us would be playing the rhythm, one of us would be soloing. When one of us got tired of soloing, we'd swap back. Or we might do a minor kind of a groove, you know. Anyway, I've always kind of looked at A when it comes to rock, and I know when it comes to rock, actually, there's a lot of E is a big chord on guitar anyway. But A minor, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of the things that I was listening to as a kid, or maybe it's just how I learned it when I first learned it, who showed it to me. But just this, it's easy to translate it to the rest of the guitar from the 5th fret for me. If you're going down here to the key of E, doing it from that open position, then you got to talk about your index finger when you go up the neck. So anyway, right here you can talk about a lot of things right out of this 5th fret position. Notice how I played the A minor pentatonic, and then slid my pinky into that major third note, because there's only a minor third in the A minor pentatonic. And another thing I would like to say is when you're practicing scales, and it's good to practice scales, but I know it's like a pain to just go. One thing that used to make me feel like it was a little more interesting was to slide it up a half step, and I would go back up, go down a half step. And that comes in handy when you're playing over some jazz changes occasionally, because you can kind of, it fits over certain changes in certain kinds of music when you get into soloing. So anyway, if you're practicing it and tired of practicing your pentatonic scales, that's one little tip for just kind of making it a little less boring and a little more interesting. One more thing though about this A 5th position. I kind of learned it with that. That's the first pentatonic scale I learned. And so eventually I had to transfer that to the other positions of the neck, the 5 positions that actually correlate with the caged system, which I had a video out last week. It was kind of an introductory video to the caged system, which is just the C, A, G, E, D open chords, and how you can A, G, E, move those up the neck and have, say, in the same chord. At different positions, you'll be playing the same chord. So anyway, that's not what this video is about today, though. I'm just getting a little sidetracked here. But back to the 5th position. So that was the first place I learned to play the pentatonic. And another one that I know it was a few cats. Let me see, some of my favorite things. that I kind of cut my teeth on as a kid. One was There's a Red House Over Yonder by Jimi Hendrix. And I'm thinking on that Hendrix in the West, it was a live record, that he had that in. Started out right there. Something like that. I think I screwed that up, but that was an A. And another guy I listened to a lot was Carlos Santana, and he had something like I was just playing actually. Oh man, the title was eluding me at the moment. But Carlos was big on the Dorian mode. And in the key of A minor, the Dorian G, which based out of the key of G. Which is how you come up with these the 7 different modes. Basically, A Dorian is based on the G major scale. And once again, just like when you're playing these minor pentatonics, and all of a sudden you're thinking, well, I could use that in the key of C major as well as A minor. Same thing with the scales that aren't pentatonic, the ones that have 7 notes in them, and the only difference in A Dorian, which is based off the G major scale, in other words, it's a G major scale played with the A as the tonic. If you'll hear this, I'm playing 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, reaching back to the 4th fret for my index finger on the D string, then 2 on the 5th fret, 4 on the 7th fret, same thing on the G string, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, then going back up to the 5th fret on the B string, 7th fret, ring finger, then pinky on the 8th, then same thing on the little E string, 1st finger, 5th fret, 3rd finger, 7th fret, pinky 8th fret. So if you look at that, I look at these shapes, I guess they're called, like kind of like I look at the pentatonic scale where it's like 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4. Here I look at it and I see in my mind, I see 1 3 4, just 1 3. Then here you have 1 2 4 1 2 4. Then you jump back up a fret, 1 3 4 1 3 4. So you got 1 3 4 on 3 strings. You got it on the big E, 1 3 4, and up here on the B you got 1 3 4. Same on the little E string. On the D and the G, you back up to the 4th fret, and you've got 1 2 4 1 2 4. And the only odd man out without 3 notes on it is the A string in this scale at this position, which is just 1 3 at the 5th fret. So you got 1 3 4 1 3. Or this is another little tip for you when you're playing a scale and you got to go back a fret. Instead of playing that 3rd finger on the 7th fret there, you can choke up to your pinky, and that will set your index finger up for going back to that 4th fret. So you got 1 3 4 1 4, which is just 2 frets apart. And then up to the D string, 1 2 4, G string, same thing. Then you come back up to the 5th fret, 1 3 4, and the E string, 1 3 4. So you got. That's how I used to practice that scale there, just so I could get fluid at it. Haven't practiced it in a while, as you can see. And that scale goes real nicely intermingled with this A minor pentatonic. And of course you get to an E7. That would be the 5th chord in the key of A minor. And so a lot of blues, a minor blues would be just like your A minor, D9, or in some sort of dominant altered scale in E altered scale. Chord for your 5th chord. So that's and one like "Thrill Is Gone" by B.B. King is one song that breaks that kind of pattern, and it uses a 4 minor chord as opposed to a dominant 7 or 9 chord. It uses the minor, even does a little walk down on it. then back, then it goes up to a flat 6, major 7, then to the 7 altered, it's like 5, 7 altered chord. So anyway, I'm digressing again. Sorry guys, it's late, it's Saturday, and I'm kind of trying to get something done here today. So back to the A minor pentatonic and the A minor Dorian, which is the same as G, built off a G major scale, except you're just hearing A as your tonic in that chord. So those go together like bread and butter. And so you could just be going along. I'm just using nothing but those two. I put a little sliding note. You can, that's one cool thing to do anytime you're doing like a blues, rock, jazz kind of thing, is just walk the notes down. I'm sure you've heard the old in A blues, where you actually just walk down to the major third. It's an old BB lick there. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you about those two scales and how they go together, because I'm going to be hopefully doing some more videos on the correlation between the pentatonics and the Dorian scale, all up and down the neck. For instance, you got your that pattern around the A minor, then you go up. That's the next pattern in. Then up onto the 12th fret. Then it brings you up to the 5th pattern. That brings you back to the octave of the one you started out with. And this one that was before it, right down here at the 3rd fret, too. Shoot. And remember, that's also known as the G major pentatonic. So anyway, so that and the Dorian mode. And the Dorian mode is just a minor scale with a major 6 instead of it's a natural minor scale, similar to it in that it has the minor 3rd and minor 7th, flat 3rd and flat 7th, but it has a natural 6th. A natural minor scale, I know you guys have probably heard that a major scale is you go up a fret, up a whole step, up a whole step, half step, then a whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Well, minor scale, you go up, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. So that's a natural minor scale. The only difference in that and the Dorian mode is that instead of having that flat 6 note, you keep that natural. And one reason it's used, that Dorian mode is like one of the most used minor scales in rock and blues, is because you have that natural 6, which happens to be the major 3rd in your 4 chord, which is D in this instance. Some version of D or D9 there. So anyway, one last thing about these scales, guys. I know it's boring to practice scales, but that's just about the only way to get better at them. And it's good sometimes to just make yourself a backing tracker if you don't have that capability. If you got a phone, you can go into your voice memos and just record something like that. And if you got $150 for an iRig, which is what I'm putting my Logic audio into this video with today, then you can actually plug into your phone through the iRig and pull up GarageBand and have all kinds of options. So anyway, I'm going to do a video on that soon coming up. But one more thing about the rehearsing thing. I was telling you about ways to practice the pentatonic scale. It's not so boring. Sliding it up or down. Or another thing, you can go down in intervals, like 3 notes, then back up. And remember, go back up, ascend as well, because I don't know if you're like me, for some reason it's always easier playing things in a descending order than it is ascending. I noticed my daughter Savannah Jones is telling me the same thing about singing for her. I mean, when you do those licks, those descending licks, the kind of R&B, Stevie Wonder kind of licks, it's a lot easier going down than it is up for her for some reason. And there's this new artist out named Yeva. By the way, if you haven't seen that video I just posted of Savannah interviewing her and having her sing a few songs for you guys, she sings the Yeva songs where she illustrates this ascending licks that are kind of tricky. So, and the same thing with practicing scales. For me, it's always been harder to go up than down for some reason. I don't know why. Anybody has any idea, leave me a comment and let me know why that is. But another thing you can do is, like I say, just go down in intervals. I'm trying to think of Peter Frampton. I forget the lick, but some song he had that lick in. But then you go down a third. You can go down 4 notes. That's a really good one to practice with these pentatonic scales, y'all, because then you got to make the bar when you get down to that. You go in pinky index, then you got to make a bar to go back up to the 5th fret of the E string. Then you pinky on the B string, 5th fret index there. Then you wind up on 7th fret of your G string, and you want to let that note ring until you hit this pinky again at the 8th fret, then all the way down, and then make your bar again. And then when you get to the 7th fret of the D string, you bend it over and get the 7th fret of your G string. Get to the 5th fret of the D, bend it over and get the 5th fret of your G string, and down in similar fashion. So you got, I'm sorry. What I tell you about it being harder to go up. And I notice there you gotta anticipate those little 2-string bars there. Gotta lay it down before I hit the bottom note. And if you go up the neck, sometimes you have to bar with a different finger, like your middle finger, which is a little bit trickier for some folks. But one more thing before I let you go, guys. That's how to kind of practice on the pentatonic scale. But that accompanying Dorian mode, you can do the same thing instead of just playing that all day long. You can come up with go down 3 notes, then back to the last note, and then 3 more, and you're kind of stair-stepping down that way, see? When you get here, you're going to want to use your pinky or bend and use a bar. You could, I'm sorry, you don't need to bend that. That's one way to do that, and one that I used to like a lot better than that was to go down 4, or my actual favorite is to go down a third and then come back to the note you skipped, then go down a third again, go back to the last one, go down another third, and you stair step down that way. Shoot. Guess I need to start practicing my scales some more myself, don't I? Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for listening. Keep picking.